Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, a podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up. Our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system. And frankly, screw that. Sick of it. And it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take the measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked with the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode.
Hi, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Lisa, who is a psych nurse practitioner. Currently, she is working 2 part-time jobs and also operating her own psych practice part-time. She's needing assistance with navigating her entire job scenario, when to possibly hire someone, and just some general help making a decision on where to go next in her career. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for hopping on here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been a nurse practitioner for, and what sorts of things you've been up to?
Hi, thanks for having me. I've been a psych nurse practitioner for about 3 years now. After I graduated, there were no job opportunities. So I ended up opening up my own private practice. At that point, it was running pretty slowly, of course. I started it from the ground up. I did have a contract initially that did not go so well. Um, right before I started my private practice, I was laid off from a previous position as an educator. So I think that situation is playing a pretty large role in some of my decision making now, because I have a lot of anxiety as far as getting rid of either one of my part-time positions. Um, we were struggling, my husband and I were struggling with money until I was able to add one of the part-time positions to my private practice. So I've been doing the one part-time position for about a year or 2 years, and then the second part-time position for about a year in addition to my private practice. Right now I'm kind of a fork in the road because my private practice has grown to the point where I could probably get rid of one of the part-time positions, but I'm just not really sure if this is the right time or if I should hire someone or really if there's anything that I haven't thought about. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, congratulations on starting to practice and it's actually doing well. So that's,
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people aren't in that position. So you're doing something right. Working 2 part-time jobs while running a part-time practice, I've been there. I've done that before myself. And so, it's doesn't leave a whole lot of room for much else in your life,
Right.
Yeah, and so you'll get burnt out eventually, right? If you're not already there or getting close. So I guess my question for you is, so your practice that you own, it's generating enough revenue to where you would feel comfortable leaving one of your part-time jobs, correct?
Yes, I'm making about 80 grand a year doing that. And I have very low expenses. Um, my expenses are only about 8,000 a year. So I'm bringing home about 72,000 a year.
And how much are you making at the part-time job?
One is $100 an hour on a 1099, and the other is 100 on a W-2. So the one is that I work more is 53,000 a year. The other one is 26,000 a year.
Is the 1099 the 50 or the 20?
The 20.
Is there any possibility you can get more hours there or no?
No.
No. Um, well, which one do you like better?
I do like a variety. Right now, I'm working 6 days a week. Like when I'm busier in my part-time positions, I am working 6 days a week, which obviously I don't like that. So I do like aspects of my private practice as well as both of the part-time positions. So it's hard to say because the part-time positions are nice because I punch in, I do what I have to do. I get paid hourly whether I have patients or not, which is very nice. And then I don't think about it until I have to work again.
Right.
Whereas my private practice is just always in my brain. So
I mean, that's kind of part of a business. That's just, I mean, you guys
yeah,
gotta expect that. I mean, it'll get better, as the years go by. You'll kind of just stop thinking about it all the time eventually. But, the first year or two is very mind consuming.
yep.
Okay, so the two part-time jobs you have, though, which one do you like better, though, outside of the money aspect?
Probably the one that I make the 53,000 at, that I usually work about 2 days a week.
The W-2 jobs. You just like that one better.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Do they give you any benefits or anything or no?
I could have taken benefits, but then it was lower pay. So no.
Right. Um. So obviously the 1099 has its benefits, right? Because I mean it's all tax free, and you could just funnel that money straight into your practice's account if you wanted to. You just
Yeah, I have been doing that from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So it just looks like revenue to your practice, right? So you get all the tax benefits from that. So if you went with the $20,000 profit one, on top of the $72,000 you're making, I mean, you'd be making almost $100,000 a year, right? If you go with the 50, you'd be making $120,000 a year. How much of that is taxed, though, to where you're not going to get any of it back out of that 50? I mean, when it's all said and done, you're probably giving away 30%, right? So the 50,000 actually turns into probably closer to 35. So it's really, I mean, you're talking about a $10,000 difference between the 1099 and the W-2 when you factor in taxes, right? So the money aspect of it it's negligible, really. Yeah. So, I mean, as a psych NP, I would imagine you should probably be making more than $100,000 a year. Is it just, is the job situation in your area just that difficult?
I mean, combined, I'm making with both of these before taxes about 160. So that's pretty good for my area.
Right, both jobs plus your practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then after taxes, it's probably
Right.
Yeah. Probably like after all taxes are said and done and whatnot, depending on how much you write off for your business and everything, you're probably taking home 110 or 120 or something. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good money, but you're working 6 days a week. So how many hours a week do you give each one of these? Like your practice and then those two jobs? Like each one?
So my practice, I'm really only doing probably 13 to 15 hours a week of patient care.
Okay.
I mean, obviously that fluctuates through the year, but that's kind of what I average It's only about 11 patients a week. So, I mean, some of those are newer patients, so of course those take time. But, and then I would say admin, because I do all of my own admin, that's probably about an hour or two. So really, when I say I'm working 6 days a week, my private practice days are half days. So I really only have availability for, I do 3 hours, but I always add on to that too. So just in case I need flexibility with my kids and that sort of thing.
So the part-time jobs, how many hours are you putting into that a week?
Probably maybe 15 to 17.
Total?
Yeah,
So in reality, you're working 30 hours a week?
probably. Yeah.
That's
I
not
mean,
bad.
it seems like a lot more.
Well, yeah, because it's spread out it's spread out across the
Right.
week, right? I mean, that's
Right.
why. It's just like, yeah. Sure, you might only work 3 or 4 hours one day, but hell, the day's ruined basically. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you can't do anything. Like, it's half the
Yeah.
day's gone, right? That's the problem with those
Mhm.
little part-time jobs. It kind of just ruins the day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Is there a way that you could consolidate all of this down so that way you have more days off without work? Like, could you, like, with your part-time job, could you, like, not do that in the morning and then go do your practice in the afternoon and consolidate this down to more like 3 days, 3 or 4 days a week?
Probably not unless I worked at my private practice after those jobs. Because those, when I work my part-time positions, they are 8+ hour shifts.
Oh, I see.
So,
So, but you're
yeah.
only doing like 2 of those a week then,
Depending on how busy, 3 at the most.
3 at the most, because you're only putting 15, 16 hours a week into both of those jobs combined,
Right.
right?
Yeah, combined. I
Oh,
mean, during the busier part of the year, it's 3 full days.
right.
During less busier times, it's 1 to 2 days a week.
So that your private practice, could you not consolidate that down into one day?
Um, uh, I don't know because I feel like my patients have expected some amount of flexibility.
Right.
So right now with just 3 days a week, I mean, I do offer Saturday mornings, which is a huge benefit. I would like to get rid of that, or at least, go down to maybe just 2 a month, but it would be hard for me to say I'm only working 1 or 2 days a week there at the
Well,
private practice.
well, I think you need to set some boundaries or something. I mean, you patients have these expectations, and usually
Mm,
when someone starts a business, you're a lot more flexible and lax with
right.
stuff because you just
Yeah.
want to get people in the door. So, but there gets to a point where you have to stop being like that,
hmm
right? And so, are you there yet? I mean, the business isn't that busy, so
hmm
probably not. But uh, yeah. So
I mean,
really, yeah,
oh,
continue.
sorry. I was just gonna say, I mean, right now I am booking out about a month for new patients. So based on the amount of availability I have, this is busy for me.
So, okay, so your practice is growing quick,
Yes.
pretty quick, sounds like.
Yeah, I looked at the last year and I'm gaining about 5 patients a month. And then I'm discharging over the past year about 12. So that's like 1 a month. So if we add about 4 patients overall, about a month.
Could
So,
you, all right, so I guess it's the question then. If you left one of
mhm.
your part-time jobs and you were able to spend more time on your practice, do you think that you could be able to grow that fairly quickly and replace that income fairly quickly?
I think so. I mean, I looked at what it would take, like if I left the one job, the 26,000 a year job, I figured that if I added like only an hour and a half to 2 hours a week, that would probably basically make up for what I would be losing. And
So,
then I work less
well,
days.
yeah, I mean that's a pretty good return on both your time and your
Mm,
money, really. I mean, if it only takes 1 to 2 hours a week to replace that, that's really not that much. Plus, how much peace of mind do you get from it, and how much time do you get from it now? Now you have an entire day off, right?
Right.
So I think that it really comes down to what your long-term goal is. Is your long-term goal, like, do you want to have your own practice and that be your only income source, and you put the work into it, you get paid for it, you generate some really good money? Like, is that your goal?
I think so. The reason I'm not sure, like, I would like to make more money. I would like to grow the practice and potentially hire someone. But if that means I'm going to be stressed out, which just knowing myself, I probably will be, that's not worth it for me.
Right. Well, I mean, there is some stress that comes along with it, no question about it. But I mean, if it's a simple business where you're just seeing patients with minimal expenses, you're going to make a lot more money. Like, let's just say, for example, you quit those 2 part-time jobs and you bring in and you decided to throw that 16 hours a week into your practice. And now you're working 30, 34 hours a week in your practice. How much more money would that be compared to the $70,000, $75,000 that you're losing from your job? Because I mean, to me, this is what it sounds like from the math. So right now you're working, if you include admin time in your business, including admin time, you're working about 15 hours and you're making $72,000 profit, correct?
Yes.
So if you added those hours to your practice and left the part-time jobs, in theory, you would double that to $140,000, right? In theory. So it's basically a 1-for-1 exchange. Like, what you're making in your part-time jobs is almost the equivalent of what you're making in your business. It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, right? But the thing is, though, with a business, I mean, what kind of tax incentives do you have with the business? Write-offs and things like that you don't get with a W-2 job, right? I mean, you should be writing off as much as you possibly can through that business to lower your taxable income, I mean, gas and cell phones and, as much stuff as you can possibly write off through that business, you should be to lower your taxable income, right? So there's that benefit. Every time you go on vacation, it's a business trip every single time. Now it's a tax write-off, right? So the advantages of it of your own business far outweigh than the security of the W-2 job specifically. So even if you make $140,000 a year net through your business, that's actually a hell of a lot more than $160,000 from a job because of just the tax benefits you're going to be able to get from it, right? So I guess it really just comes down to, your peace of mind. I wouldn't think a psych practice where you're working 30 hours a week that you own is going to be that stressful. I wouldn't think it would be, especially if you don't have any employees or anything. It's just you. I don't think that would be that stressful. So the thing is, Lisa, is that you working for other people, you're going to hit a ceiling and you're never going to be able to grow past really a certain level of income unless you just work more and more hours and more shifts. With a business, it's essentially infinite what you can do with it. I mean, you can grow and scale that thing to whatever income that you want, really. So it's just what your goal is. I mean, if you're happy with making $160,000 a year in the current situation that you're in right now, then don't change anything, right? But if you're not, you want some more time and you want to make more money, the business is the way to go. It just is. What are your thoughts?
No, that all makes sense. I wasn't thinking about how much of the tax advantage that there is in my own business. I mean,
Yeah.
I do have my write-offs and I mean, I have money saved in a tax account to pay my taxes. So I don't even look at that as my income. It's just automatically goes into my tax account. But um, I think because of having that job loss and being, underemployed for so long, that I am really afraid of making any risks and jumping full time into my practice, even though I would probably rather do that.
The fear aspect of it is completely normal. All of us go through that. Every single one of us do. I remember going through the same thing. Oh God, I don't know if I want to leave my job. I've always had a job. Do I want to
Right.
leave this and go into my business? And I will tell you this. I don't know a single person, NP or other business otherwise, who regrets leaving their job to focus on their business. I don't know anyone.
Okay, that's good to know.
Not one person, especially if you have a business that's proven. You have a proven business. I've heard regrets from people who quit their job and just start a business that isn't proven, zero revenue. That's retarded. That's just stupid, right? You don't do that. But you have a proven business that's generating income. So in these kinds of situations, I know no one that regretted that decision. Okay? If anything, every single person says, I wish I would have done it earlier. Right? That's true for me, and it's true for most people that I talk with. They wish they would have done it earlier. Okay? It's just like when people retire. I wish I just would have retired earlier. You know what I mean? Working for that extra 2 years didn't really change my financial situation that much. I should have just retired, You hear that all the time from people, and it's the same thing with a business. And so I really think that I don't think you'll regret it because you have a business that's working. You have a practice that is proven. You're generating revenue. You are in mental health. So the demand's always going to be there. Do you accept insurance or is it cash?
I do.
Okay, so
Alma and Headway and Grow.
So you accept insurance, which means the demand's always going to be there, So I really feel like that if your goal is to have a business that is infinitely scalable, then that's really what you need to dive into. If you want income, you want to grow it into a way where it eventually starts developing passive income for you. You do that by hiring another provider to see patients for you, right? You can't do that with a job.
Yeah.
You can't develop passive income with a job. It doesn't happen, right? So the benefits of the business far outweigh it. For example, with my men's health clinic, let's just say it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, my net profit on paper, okay, my net profit was like $40,000. Okay, 40 grand. All right, now I was paying myself $5,000 a month, so I'm not counting that. Okay, so I was paying myself a salary as well, it was like $5,000 a month, and every single trip I went on that year, I wrote off through my men's health clinic. Because I would go on a CE trip somewhere, right? I'd go to Costa Rica and stay at at the Four Seasons because there was a CE conference there. That was a whole 2 days long, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I wrote off a $10,000 trip, My vehicle, I bought a business vehicle for my men's health clinic, an $80,000-$90,000 Denali 2500 diesel truck. Wrote off, So sure, my taxable income was only like $40,000, but how much did I really make if you figure out those expenses and those write-offs as well, right? There's the on paper profit, and then there's the profit that includes expenses that you had. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, commit tax fraud. That's not what I'm saying. It's business expenses that also benefit you too. That's the benefit of having a business, right? So that's what I mean is that you can have, there's so many more benefits to it, and so like this would be my advice to you. This is my advice. I say quit the W-2 job. I know that's the one that's the highest paying one. I say quit that job. Keep the 1099. Have the money keep going into your business account because it's still considered business income. Keep that for just, a little bit of a backup, a buffer to have some revenue, kind of some money coming in, to make yourself just feel a little bit better. All right. To reduce your anxiety, but you get the tax benefits from it. And if you don't want the 1099, then keep the W-2, whatever. But I would stick with the 1099 just because of it's business revenue coming into your practice and you can write stuff off with it. But you keep one so you are at least, you're not so stressed out about it. You're not completely cutting the cord, right? You're at least hanging on by one. A little thread of it still. So you still got a little bit of a job that's still kind of giving you that peace of mind. You still have some money coming in from it. And then now you have another 8 to 10 hours a week to focus on your practice. And now put that 8 to 10 hours a week into it. Start getting more patients. Start seeing more patients more often. Increase billings. Increase volume. You said you discharge patients. Why the hell would you do that? At least follow up with them every 6 months. You know what I mean? It's better than nothing.
Oh, these are like people that have moved or their insurance changed.
Okay. I got you. All right. But anyways, though, so like, keep it going. See patients a little bit more frequently if you can get away with it ethically. And just, increase the profit of the business now that you have more money coming in or, more time going into it. And see what happens over 6 months. And you might look at the numbers and be like, holy, I'm making a hell of a lot more than I was making at that part-time job now.
All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and then other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And I can start seeing the writing on the wall of how I could really scale this thing. Then you leave the other job and you go straight into your practice full time, work however many hours a week you want, 30, 35 hours a week. Okay. Make yourself $140, $160, $200,000 a year. And then at that point, start making the business work for you. That's when you want to hire someone else.
Oh, okay. So wait for a while to hire. You would.
Why would you? This is the thing I never understood. I don't understand this mindset. And you're not the first one, so I'm not singling you out.
Okay.
Why the fuck would you hire someone to see patients at your practice while you're still working for someone else seeing patients for them?
Yeah, that's true.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You know what I mean? That makes no sense. You're basically working over here to pay the person that you hired for over here.
Right.
It makes no sense. Okay. So don't do that because it's just, it's not a rational business decision. So when you get to a point where you're just like, okay, I'm done. I don't want any more patients. Like this patient census that I have, I'm cool with this. You develop relationships with people. You get them dialed in on their psych med. You don't got to see them very often. It's pretty easy. You keep those patients and you say, this is my patient census. Okay, people are still calling though. They still want to be seen. New patients want to be seen. Okay, I'm going to hire a part-time NP now or a PRN. contracted NB 1099 to start seeing patients. And I'm going to start building up their patient census, right? You pay them 40 to 50% collections. Okay. So they make pretty good money. 40 to 50% collections in a psych practice probably equals what? About $100 an hour?
Probably, yeah.
Give or take, right? That's pretty good money. And then you get to profit the other 50% when expenses and everything are paid for. You know, it'll probably end up being more like 25, 30% is what you take, but that's 25, 30% of free passive income. Then you build up their patient census, you hire another one, you hire another one, you hire another one, and you could see how this could really snowball into $1 million practice, right? So that would be my advice to you. In terms of, you know, hiring someone else, the question there is, I mean, you're going to need to hire a receptionist at least, probably at some point, right? So the only point you need to hire a receptionist is when you're basically spending a lot of your time on busy work, calling people and scheduling people and, you know, pre-authorizations and crap like that. You know, when you get to that point where you're sick of doing that, that's when you probably want to hire someone. More than likely, you will probably hire a receptionist before you hire your first NP.
Okay. Yeah, I don't spend that much time because I use intake queue and there's a lot of automation in that. I don't answer calls. So if I have a call, I'll usually text them like the link to my site that they can do online booking. And on my voicemail, I have it listed to call or to see my site so they can do online booking. So I don't spend that much time on those types of things.
Well, let me ask you though, how many people are falling through the cracks because no one is answering?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that many. Most of the calls I think I receive are spam.
Yeah, you know what? You never know. A lot of people still want to speak to someone when they're booking an appointment. You know what I mean? Like me personally, okay, I'm 41. So I am right in the middle, smack in the middle, pretty much millennial, right? Maybe a little on the older side of the millennial generation. But I got a vasectomy, okay? I got a vasectomy back in, I think it was May, all right? May or June or something. And the urologist that I saw for it is a one-man show. Okay. He has like 3 offices. So basically he just rents like an office space in a primary care practice or whatever. And then just travels around Colorado. And he has no receptionist. He has no one. And I remember calling the number, and it was kind of like what you had. It was like, you know, thank you for calling whatever vasectomy clinic. And sorry for not answering your phone. Please go to our website to schedule an appointment or whatever. And then I got like a automatic text, you know, saying, hey, sorry, you know, please go to this website to schedule an appointment. And that didn't settle well with me. I didn't schedule an appointment. I was like, I wanted to actually like ask a question or two to someone on the phone, right? The guy called me back the next day, because I think he was tracking it somehow. Okay, this is a missed call. Let me see if anyone scheduled at the same time. No one did. Okay, you know what I mean? So he called me, and then that's when I scheduled it. That could have fell through cracks. Yeah. That would have been $1,000 less for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying. I think you would be surprised how much that's falling through the cracks. And so when you hire a receptionist, you probably will see an increase in bookings and stuff like that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be the first person you want to hire is like a receptionist or someone who can answer the phone and manage patient complaints. And, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It improves the patient. It just improves the experience overall. Right. So that'd be the first person you want to hire. Now, when is that? I don't mean, honestly, you're probably pretty close to getting that person hired. You know, they can be part-time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I guess I feel like I don't know that much of what they would do because my patients message me directly. And I mean, they've become accustomed to that. And I mean, it works really easily. I can quick respond to any messages.
Does that drive you crazy though?
Well, that's kind of yes.
Yeah, that's not sustainable.
Most people are very respectful of it. So I would say on average, I receive one, maybe two messages a day. It's not, and I have 138 active patients.
Right.
So most people are pretty respectful.
So then what I would do is, why don't you quit one of those jobs? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Fill up that time with new patients at your practice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 100, 150 patients. I said this in a podcast, I don't know how long ago. But I remember talking to someone about when it is that you need to hire, and I kind of like quantified it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying between 100 and 150 patients, you can still do that by yourself. But once you get over 100 to 150, that's when managing all of those people and answering phone calls and doing all that kind of stuff starts taking a burden on you. Okay. So you're getting close to that inflection point. So that's so what I'm saying is quit one of the jobs and use that time for your practice and start getting more people in there. And then once you get to the point where you're just like, I'm getting really sick and tired of answering the phone and scheduling patients and doing all these things, I'm kind of getting tired of it. Or you start seeing missed calls on your phone and, you know, things like that. That's probably when you want to hire someone. And you don't need to hire someone to work 5 days a week by any stretch of the imagination. It can just be, you know, 3 days a week. If you want to scale this business, you need to have consistent hours and consistent times. So you could say we're only open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's what's on the voicemail. It's on your website. We're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You hire this person to work 3 8-hour shifts, and they're there answering the phones on those days. Outside of that, you have a messaging system or whatever, like you have been doing, you know, an autoresponder kind of a thing. And you might find that it's nice. You might be you'll end up being a lot more efficient with someone there in your office. You know, checking patients in, verifying insurance, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much of this automated and I've done it all on my own that I probably spend more time than I actually think I do. And it just feels like, oh God, to try to teach somebody how I do it feels burdensome.
Oh, hell. That'd take you a whole day or two.
I know. I'm in that zone where I feel like I can only do it.
Yeah, well, that is another thing I talk about a lot on this podcast. You got to end up giving up some of that responsibility and trust someone else, or you're never going to scale a practice. You know, all these things I just said. If you do not want to do those things, okay, then you're probably better off just working for someone.
Yeah.
Or you just end up having a practice that you work 30 hours a week at. You have a certain amount of patients, and you call it a day, and you just live your life, and then you just say, hell with it, this is fine with me. If that's your goal, then obviously, I mean, you could do that. I know plenty of MPs that do that. They have a little practice where they work 3 days a week at, and they're cool with that, and they just live their life outside of that, and just whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't scale. So it just really depends on, you know, when do you want to retire? How much money do you want? Like, what kind of lifestyle do you want? That's what it really comes down to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts about all that?
Yeah, I mean, I just have to kind of get, I think, probably more comfortable with trusting other people and deciding if I really do want to scale this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm hoping that if I did scale it, that there would be enough profit. When I ran numbers with the increase in expenses I would have, because right now, for example, I only pay $100 a month in rent, and I would have to rent a different place that's probably $700, $800 a month, which I know probably doesn't seem like a lot. But when I ran the numbers, I'm like, oh, I don't see how this would even be profitable.
Well, that's called investing in your business, right? Like, that's how you invest in your business. You know, if you want to increase patient volume, you probably need a bigger space. You can see more patients, right? You need to spend the money on paying that person, There's expenses associated with it. While it might not seem profitable right now, it doesn't seem profitable right now because you're running the same numbers. You're not accounting for the increase in volume and the increase in profit you're going to experience. Okay. Based off of your current income and your current revenue, yeah, if you take on these additional expenses, then it doesn't look like it's profitable. You know what I mean? But the thing is, those investments into the business will allow you, it'll increase your capacity to see more patients and to do more things. And that revenue will replace that plus a lot more. It just takes a little time for you to see it. And that's one of the risks of having a business, because you just don't know if that investment is actually going to pay off or not. You just don't until you give it a try. And so you just got to be okay with it. There might be a little bit of some short-term pain where you might have to cut back a little bit in your personal life for a few months as you pay this person some money and you have a higher rent and things like that. You might just have to cut back a little bit, but that's business. Like, we all have done that. I did it. I mean, everyone else that I know of has done that, during the initial stages of their business. They had to cut back. So, at my men's health practice, I didn't pay myself $1 for the first year or two of the business. I didn't pay myself anything. I was doing it for free, basically. But it was worth it, because then at year 3, I was making a ton of money.
Right. Now, if you hire someone, a nurse practitioner, and you pay them 50% on collections, do you require a certain amount of hours per week just to make sure that you're not losing money?
You're not going to be losing money paying them collections. It's strictly production based. So if they don't...
I was just thinking about... Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about the increase in expenses.
What's the increase in expenses if you hire someone else?
I'd say probably $1,200 maybe a month.
But what is it though? What's the increase in expense? Like, what is it?
The rent, because I'd have to get a different place, more on the EHR, more on the phone and the fax. I'd have to credential them.
But if you're using Headway, they do all that, right?
Yeah, they do group practices, but Alma doesn't, and like 90% of my people I bill through Alma. I did get credentialed my practice on my own just as a backup in case something happened with Alma, Headway, or Grow. So my group is credentialed independently, but the rates are higher through Alma, so I just bill through there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the biggest part of that $1,200 a month is going to be the rent for the increase in space, right? You're going to need that anyways if you want to grow the business. You're just going to, right? The fax and phone, that shouldn't be increased whatsoever. It should be the same thing. I don't know why that would increase. You don't need to give them a number.
Yeah.
They come and see their patients and they leave. You know what I mean? It's just like how you look at your 1099 job. They're going to look at your 1099 job.
That's true.
They're going to look at it the same way, right? They're going to see their patients, they leave, they're done, right? So really the only increased expense really should be a larger space, and then the initial startup, the initial fee of getting them credentialed or inputted into Headway and Alma or whatever. That's pretty much it. Their malpractice policy, if they have an individual professional policy, they should be able to just come right into it and start seeing patients. If they have an individual malpractice policy, you shouldn't have to pay for that. Right?
Okay.
Shouldn't have to. So there are some increased expenses, usually just at the front of it, the front end of it. Getting them credentialed or maybe helping them pay for a malpractice policy, those upfront expenses. That's really about it. Otherwise, operationally, there really isn't any kind of expense associated with it because you're not paying them anything unless they're seeing patients because they're on production, right? Like, you don't pay them, like, you're not just going to pay them hourly to sit around and do nothing. You're going to pay them. It's only production. They make their own hours. They can see patients whenever they want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If a psych NP wants to see patients from 5 to 7 p.m., cool. We will schedule patients on your time.
Mm-hmm.
It could be telemed too.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's just an investment in your business.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to pay to play. That's business. People who are scared to invest in their business and afraid to take some risks, they have a business that stagnates, that just never goes anywhere. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the businesses that you see when the person, retires at 60 years old or whatever, and they're kind of just done. Those are the businesses that you see that just close down because it's not built in a way to sell.
Yeah.
Right? Your goal is to build a business that you can eventually sell.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to buy your business if it's 100% reliant on you. No one is.
Right.
Right? So, word of caution with Headway and Alma.
Mm-hmm.
When you sign the contract with them, they're not technically your patients, they're theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind, that they're not really your patients.
Yeah.
So if you ever wanted to sell your practice, it would be extremely hard to if all of your patients are from Headway and Alma, because the person buying your business isn't really, they're, the biggest asset is your patient census.
Right.
Well, if that's not even yours, then the hell are they buying? So
Right.
keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the advantage, though. They do all the billing for you. They do everything, right?
Right. I get paid every week by Alma. It's very nice.
And you don't have to worry about it. You just chart and you submit, and that's it, right?
Yep. Yep.
Right.
It's super easy.
So, I understand that. If you want to build a business that you don't really care about selling at any point, in the near future, you just want to kind of just go see patients and work and have other providers seeing patients for you and that kind of a thing, then by all means, keep doing that. If it takes off the stress from you and it makes this business something that's actually doable for you. Because if you got to do all in-house billing or hire a billing company to do it all for you, you got to deal with all those headaches.
Right. Exactly.
So, okay. Anything else?
I just have one, I think, quick question.
Okay.
Should I be paying my taxes quarterly, or should I have like 17, 18 grand just waiting to pay it in bulk? But I'm wondering, I listened to a recent podcast that says something about investing that money. I don't even know if that makes sense for the tax money.
I would avoid paying quarterly if you can.
Okay.
Okay. It really depends on how much money you're making and stuff like that. It depends on how much you're making. I think once you hit a certain threshold, you have to pay quarterly.
Okay.
I don't think you're there yet.
Okay.
But yeah, the advantage of not paying quarterly is that you can invest those tax dollars and at least get a return on it before you pay your taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
And what would I invest that in?
Well, you never want to gamble with it. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about going to the casino. I'm talking about
Right.
buying some Nvidia stock or some Bitcoin or something,
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's a gamble. Right. So I wouldn't invest in equities,
Okay.
cryptocurrency or something with my tax dollars. All I would invest in is 100% securable assets. So that's going to be treasury bonds.
Okay.
Okay. So an easy way to do this is you just open up a brokerage account, okay, with Charles Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard or whatever, all right? Just open up a brokerage account, and this brokerage account is strictly for your taxes, or you can begin just investing money in that brokerage account, but all your tax dollars are in a separate fund within that brokerage account. And by that, I mean, all you would do is that those taxable dollars that you have, you just put them in BIL, okay? BIL is a short-term treasury exchange traded fund, an ETF, all right?
Okay.
That ETF invests in U.S. government debt treasury, short-term treasuries that are between like 0 to 3 months long in duration.
Okay.
Those treasuries are like cash, and they are 100% secured. They are not going anywhere, all right? So you put your money in those, then you're at least earning 4%.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Just put your money in that stuff. And then when the tax bill comes at the end of the year, click sell. It sells it.
Mm-hmm.
It's liquid just like that. You earn
Nice.
4% over the year. I mean,
Yep.
that's only 4%. It's not like it's life-changing money, but it's better than nothing, right?
Right.
And then you just click sell and then you give it to the IRS.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Nope, that was the last one.
What are you going to do?
I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
I know that I will probably give up one of the jobs. I just need to feel confident in it. So I will probably give it a couple more months because right now I don't have a ton of availability with the holidays and all that. So I just want to make sure that I continue to grow over the next couple months. And then I will probably pull the trigger at that point.
I mean, that makes sense. It's the end of the year and the holidays and stuff. You don't really have to make a decision right now. Yeah. So, that's what I would do, and contact Headway or Alma or whatever and be like, hey, start sending me some more patients. I have bandwidth for it. If you're booking out a month right now, you're probably going to, some people are probably going to drop off. Yeah. So, okay. I think that's a reasonable plan. January, February, quit one of those jobs and put those hours towards your business and make 2026 the year where you leave your jobs and you're 100% in on your business. And by the end of 2026, you have a full patient census, you have hire receptionist part-time, and maybe by the end of the year and, end of next year, you're hiring your first NP. Granted, it could explode between now and then. You do it a lot earlier. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. All right. Well, I like to end the episode with you asking me a question. You have a question for me, curiosity or, just a personal question.
Well, because it's going to be Thanksgiving, I'm going to ask you a fun question. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
My favorite Thanksgiving food? Sweet potato casserole, because I'm from the South.
All right.
I love a good sweet potato casserole. It's one of those things you only get to eat once or twice a year kind of a thing, so it is not healthy for you at all.
Right.
It is like cake, mean, it's like mashed sweet potatoes with brown sugar on top of it and marshmallows and you know what I mean? It's like, it's so bad for you, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. I appreciate it. It was a fun question. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, if you ever want to do a follow-up, 3 to 6 months from now, as you're making this transition, you got my email. So just let me know.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
All right. No problem. Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.
I hope everyone enjoyed the episode with Lisa. She's in one of those positions that a lot of us face as an entrepreneur. You're working a part-time job or multiple part-time jobs or a full-time job, and your practice is up and running and it's starting to make some money and that sort of a thing. And it can be a very difficult situation to navigate. It's anxiety producing because you've never really been in that position before, right? But you just have to take a chance. You have to take a small risk and go in on the business because, working for other people, you're never going to be able to capitalize on your work and your effort and your blood, sweat, and tears. You're just never going to, but you will be able to do that with a business. And so I think that her leaving one of her part-time jobs and spending some more time on her business is a wise idea. And I think once she starts seeing some more revenue being generated in her practice, she'll then have the guts to then leave her job because, she just has that security blanket with those jobs. She has some anxieties surrounding that, and that's completely normal. So you got to take a risk. That's the thing about being a business owner. Everyone would do it if no risk was involved, but risk is involved. And that's why business owners are the people in this country that become millionaires. Employed people don't become millionaires, guys. Entrepreneurs and business owners become millionaires. It's because you're willing to take that risk. All right. Hope everyone enjoys this episode. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcast. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2023 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.